This is the Owns Odyssey podcast. Thank you for being here. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Owen Colgan Odyssey podcast. I suppose that's what you'd call it. Still coming up with new names for it all the time. If you have any other names that you think might work for the podcast, then please do not hesitate to get in touch. I would love to hear from you and hope all is good with yourself. Bit of news, we're going to be talking about my visit to Woodlawn today in the north of New York City, where I went over to do a MC job on a fundraising gig for the Kevin Bell Reparation Trust, it's called, or maybe I'm saying the word reparation wrong, but basically what it is if you have an accident and you unfortunately pass away when you're abroad, then what they will do is they will give you money to send your coffin home and all that stuff. And it's to help support the families over there. And it was created, I believe, by the Kevin Bell family. And I was over there at the time because there was a poor man called Michal Walsh who unfortunately passed away in New York, and he was sent home. So the family was over there, and basically it was from 2 p.m. until midnight in a pub called the Ramblin' House up there in Woodlawn. And the great pub, big fine pub with the big round bar when you walk in. And first day I got there to New York, I took the train from, where did I go from? I went into JFK, and as soon as you get there, you're thinking, right, I gotta be cute here now because, you know, there's people everywhere. I don't know who's thinking what. Don't know, people are out trying to catch me out, you know, so you're sort of on the back foot as soon as you get there. And so I was keeping my cards close to my chest, kept touching my phone to see that I was okay. And then I was like, there's JFK, right, I'll get the train into town. There's so many trains, and I'm not really used to taking the trains or the subways or any of that stuff. So I don't really know much about that kind of stuff. So for me, it's a lot of looking at the phone and then looking up at the signs or walking over to people and asking them questions. And the thing about going over to people in the cities is a lot of the time they'll think you're a weirdo. That's the first thing they think. They think, who is this creep coming over to me? And that's why you have to approach them very gently and go, sorry, excuse me, how do I get up to Woodlawn? And sometimes they wouldn't have ever heard of the place, so they'll be looking at you going, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But I will say this, they were very helpful, very friendly. And when I left the airport, there was a free train to Jamaica. And when I got there then, there was a fella saying you have to pay to get through some sort of gate. And I was like, what do you mean? I've already been on the train. He goes, yeah, that's why you're paying to go through this, sir, because you've already used the train from the airport. So that's how we get paid basically for the train, because nobody charged, you see, to get on the train. So I thought I was getting away with the free train journey, but I wasn't. And this is one thing I will say to you. You do not get away without paying in New York for nearly everything. As soon as you leave the house, you're pissing money out your back arse. Anyways, I got there and I decided that I'd ask the fella who was standing there at the subway train booth, whatever you call it. And I said to him, how'd you get up to Woodlawn? So in fairness to him, he gave me great directions to head up to Woodlawn. So I headed up on the train, and, you know, I was like a bit like Crocodile Dundee when he went to America first. You know, you'd be looking around at people and you'd be taking it all in because it's exciting, but at the same time, you don't want to stare too much, because if you look at somebody for more than 5 seconds in New York, especially on a subway, it could, it wouldn't be dangerous. But what I figured out is that I don't think it's a good thing to be looking at people too much. And I'm an awful man for looking at people. It's one of my favorite things to do. Just not in a perverted way, just to sort of look at them and see what they're wearing and see what they're thinking about, that sort of thing. So I got the train anyways up to Woodlawn, which is up in Yonkers there. And I could hear some Irish lads chatting on the train. So I said, I'll sit in behind them and I listened to them. And it was basically two lads in their mid-40s who, they were both drinking a can each on the train, a can of Modelo, which is a big drink over there. I think it's a Mexican drink. And they were sipping away on that, taking it nice and casual. And they seemed to be heading into the city, or I don't know where, maybe they were working in the city and they were heading back home up to Woodlawn because they finished a day's work, but they looked like bloody hard workers. And I was weighing them up, and then there was people across from me from God knows where, but I was weighing them up. And then a fella behind me started chatting to me, and he ended up being from Roscommon. And he said to me, "Oh, sure, I'm heading up to Woodlawn." So I said, "Well, we'll head up together then, and we'll hang out." And we started hanging out then, and we went into the Rambling House just to take a look, because that's where I was going to be doing the MC job the following night. So anyways, we ended up having a load of bottles of beer in there and got fairly steamed. Woke up the next morning then. I was feeling a bit shaky, but not too bad. I was over there in America, and you're like, this is great to be here. But at the same time, I had a slight dose of the fear. When you wake up in the morning and you get a slight dose of the fear. So I had a bit of that, and I was like, fuck. I don't know, man. I don't know. I need to go down and get some food. So I went down to a Subway, which is down the road from where I was staying. And I thought to myself, I'll be healthy when I went in there. So walked in there, and there was a cop in there, and he was ordering like 3 or 4 fucking Subways for the boys. So I stood behind him. He was all glocked up to the max. And I said, "Can I get a vegetarian footlong, please?" And she looked at me like I had 2 fucking heads. And she said, "A vegetarian? But you want meat?" And I was like, no, I'll go without the meat. So she just put loads of lettuce into it and fucking sweet corn and everything. Basically, what I was trying to do was I was trying to go there and be healthy, because I knew I'd probably be having a few drinks when I'm over there. So I'd counterbalance that by not eating chicken and beef all the time, or like pork or whatever. Like, I was just trying to balance the books a small bit. But it backfired on me, because she gave me this roll, and it was crap. It was absolutely horrible. So I ate the roll, fairly disappointed, not full at all. Went across the road to a Popeyes, got myself a chicken burger, which was absolutely delicious, I have to say. And then I was off to the races. And that was the end, unfortunately, of my vegetarian days in America. So then that night then the following day I was actually doing the gig in Woodlawn. Yeah, the following day. So I had the whole day off to wallow, and I went for a walk around the place in the Woodlawn village. And it's crazy because there's so many Irish people there. There's people walking around drinking Lucozade. There's people eating Tato crisps. There's people with Irish jerseys on. There's houses that have O'Shea outside it, and you could see the American flag blowing one way, and then the Irish flag blowing the other side. And it's a real precious part of New York City. I wouldn't know if you call it New York City. No, I don't know if you would. It'd be more so in Yonkers, but it is all connected anyways. So I met a few friends that day. We had a few bottles of beer, and that leveled me off then. And then the following day, woke up at around 1:00, got ready, took a shower, headed down then to the Ramblin' Bar, started this MC job around 2:00, and went up there and told people that there's going to be jerseys and all that stuff that they're going to be auctioning off to raise money for this charity, and various things that they were giving away, tickets to concerts and gigs and All Ireland finals and all that sort of stuff. So people were getting excited, and they were slowly filtering in, like it was a long haul. It was 2 p.m. it was starting, and it was a lovely sunny day outside. So people were slowly coming in throughout the day. So then a band came up, started playing some music. They went on till around 3:00. I went up again, said a few more words, brought on another band. And that was pretty much the continuation of the night. Now, bear in mind, Irish people have a lot of energy. Irish Americans, I think, they have even more energy, because they're in this little area that's surrounded by all sorts of other people, and they're there, and this is their heartbeat. Whereas in Ireland, you can be a bit more, I suppose, free in some ways, but in Woodlawn, it's almost like, I don't know how you describe it, but full of lunatics, basically, full of absolute lunatics, and they're all coming in, and they're sharing stories. And there's Irish people there, there's Irish American people there, and there's people from everywhere, not just Irish Americans. There's people from all over the world. I met a lad from Colombia there, and he was just living in the area. Loads of Mexicans in the area, all soundskins, and chatting away to them. And now the Americans can put away the drink, no matter how you spin it, they can put away the drink. We say that the Irish drink a lot, but I think the Irish Americans, or maybe the Americans in general, can drink, because by God that they were drinking. They were drinking Jack and Coke, pints of the stuff, not just like little small ones, pints of the stuff. And so basically what happened was the evening went on till about midnight, maybe 1 a.m. in the morning, and it slowly but surely got progressively more wild as the night went on. And the place became packed, absolutely packed towards the very end. And around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I was pure exhausted, absolutely exhausted. So, the bands were playing, and I felt a bit like Jack from Titanic, where I was in the middle of an ocean of pints, and I was just keeping myself above water. So I was going outside for fresh air, hanging out with people, listening to great stories that people were telling me from their days visiting Ireland, or maybe some families that they've got, or other stuff like that. And some of the Irish American lads, they introduced me to this American style burger that's definitely inspired by Irish food. It was basically it was like a burger. It was like a burger, but with chips in it. But it was only chips. There was no actual meat in it. So it was like burger buns with curry sauce and chips inside it. And it was been served in a van on one of the strips there in Woodlawn. And I have to say it was delicious. Now that could have been because I had quite a bit of booze on board. But really enjoyed that. And that was very tasty. So, and then I met a gang of young lads, and they wanted to continue the partying, but I knew where that would end up. And also bear in mind, this was probably the third day I was there, and I had another few days to go. And I knew that I was going to be meeting my cousin as well, who likes to go out. So I wanted to really pace myself, when I was over there. So I decided I'd head home at around 1 a.m. So, got into bed anyways, about 1:30, 2 o'clock. Really, really tired and steamed. Woke up the next day anyways, and I thought to myself, you know what I'll do? I'll get an old takeaway for myself in the bed, and I'll stay in bed till about 4 o'clock if I have to. And there was a TV in the room as well, so I was watching this fella called Pat McAfee. I think that's his name. Is it Pat McAfee? He's a sports lad. He used to play American football. I didn't know what he was talking about, but he was talking very enthusiastically about sports. Pat McAfee, yeah, he used to be an all-American American football player. Anyways, I was getting all relaxed. The food had just came. I ordered a burrito, and then I heard a knock at the door then as soon as the burrito was finished. And it turns out that actually I had to leave the Airbnb that day because there was people coming the following day. I had miscalculated how many days I was allowed to stay in the Airbnb. So then I was like, right, fuck me, I've got to make all my way now down as far as Long Island, which in my mind, you see, I was thinking these places are all beside each other. This will be like an hour journey. But really, it's almost like going from Dublin to... It's almost like going from Dublin to... not Carlow, a bit further than Carlow. It's like going from Dublin to Tipperary. That's a bit what it's like. Because you have to take one train from Yonkers down to the city. Then you've got to get another one from the city over across to this stop called Jamaica. That's like a big station, Jamaica, or Penn Station's another big one. But yeah, I went to Jamaica, so I got the train down, absolutely dying on the train. Got the train down as far as Jamaica. Got the train down into the city centre of New York. Then from there to Jamaica. Then from Jamaica, I took the Long Island Railroad. And then I got out as far as my cousin. And then he was nice enough to collect me from the train station. So I was out there hanging out with my big cuz. And he is very patriotic towards Ireland. He's a lovely fella. And he was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, we'll maybe head home and have the crack. And he said, yeah, sure, yeah. But we went out for a few beers again that day. And then we went home and had a lovely dinner for ourselves. And then what did we do then next? Then we went back to the house, his house, and then we made a nice fire for ourselves. And because I hadn't seen him in so long, we had a few drinks and actually ended up getting quite steamed again that night. But woke up in the comfort of his home, and I was staying there for the next few days, so the pressure was off. Didn't really have the fear that much, and went for like a lovely walk then down along the beach that he lives close to, and that was nice and refreshing. And I jumped in the water actually, even though I'm not sure how clean the water was. But I asked somebody when I was down there, it's like, is the water okay to swim in? And this lady she's like, yeah, it's fine. And then she just powered off in a different direction. So I hopped into the water in a pair of jocks, and because it was warm, it was about, I'd say 22 degrees over there. So I felt great then after jumping in the water. And then my cousin said to me, guess what? I got tickets to the Dez Rocks concert, which is this fella from Long Island. And how would I describe this fella? Dana White does be on about him sometimes, but he's this fella that he'd kind of remind you of a young Led Zeppelin sort of singer. Let me see. Dez Rocks. Dez Rocks. He's like a young, fresh, up-and-coming lad. He's from New York. Let me see. Also known... Danny Rocco, also known as Dez Rocks, is an American rock musician from Rockville, Central New York. Dez Rocks is a solo project produced and led by Danny Rocco. Anyways, he was this young lad with a sleeveless top on, and he was up on stage and he was absolutely rocking it for about an hour and 20 minutes. And that was brilliant crack. That was in Brooklyn, and I didn't know my way around. So thankfully my cousin and his family met me, and we went to that concert, and there was more drink taken that night as well. And at that point I was sort of like, well, I'm a shark in the middle of the ocean now. I may as well keep swimming, because I was like, this is either sink or swim job. And I decided to embrace the booze when I was away, as opposed to fighting it. So now that I'm back in Ireland, I'm off it for at least a month. I'm going to try and do the whole month of November on the dry. I'm going to give it a good go. If you see me, please, 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 please do not offer me any drink, unless, of course, it's milk, which I'm back drinking as well, by the way, since going to America. I was off it there for like a long time, but then I was drinking it in my tea and my coffee and everything. And they love all that stuff. They love all that stuff. The milk, the meat, the guns, the big stuff, the diesel, the Happy Meals, all that stuff, the big meals. They're just mad into all that stuff. So they sort of pull you into that world when you're over there, because it's relentless. Whether you put on the television or whether you're driving down the road, it's just, there's something being thrown at you. And it's a funny one, because it brings you to a different energy level. Like, it gives you this energy level where you're like, fuck, there's so much shit going on that I need to be kind of higher energy too, because everyone else is higher energy. Like, if you go into the subway and you're looking all like, oh, sorry about that, people be like, yeah, get the fuck out. Like, I mean, it never happened to me. Maybe this is just my stupid mind watching too many gangster movies. But it feels like if you're not cute over there, then they'll force you into being cute. So I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, actually. I haven't a clue what I'm talking about. I was on about the Dez Rocks concert. I was there with my cousin, and he got these little tiny Mexican drinks that tasted like mezcal, and we were sipping them, and it was like that size, but it was like wrapped. You couldn't see the outside of the bottle, so it was wrapped in some sort of fabric, and we were drinking them, and they were strong. They were definitely more than 40%, but we were sipping away at them, and it was like there's no end to them. I kept sipping away anyways, and they were fucking delicious, but they really gave me a nice little bit of a kick. So that was nice, and Dez Rocks, in fairness to me, was class. So then we went home that night, and then following day woke up, and I was like, right, this will be a day now that I'll get to relax. This will be the day that I'll get to just chill out. I'll go down for a walk. I'll do a bit of deep breathing, and I'll slow things down again, and I won't forget who I am. And so my cousin was like, well, we're going to go in to watch the baseball game. And I was like, no, fucking baseball. baseball. I was trying to figure that shit out when I was over there. I hadn't a clue what was going on. Apparently there's some Japanese lad that's worth over £1 billion, but that's pretty much all I picked out when I was over there. They love that baseball stuff. There's a lot of ups and downs and ins and outs. A lot of rules in the game. Looks like an exciting enough sport, but there's too much stopping and starting for me. I do like that bit where they're throwing the ball and man's like, "Ugh," and he fucking hits it out of the field. I like that bit, and I do feel like if I was given half a chance at that, I could be good. But I will say this as well. I think Irish lads, especially, could be very, very good, especially hurling boys. They could be very good at baseball because it's a slightly similar swing of the bat, you know. Even though in the hurling, I know it's a bit more down there, but it's a similar muscle, I'd say. You're using muscles. You're like, oh, it's all in the hips. Maybe a bit like golf and hurling mixed together. And I think that the Irish boys would do very well with it. So if I was half the age that I am now and I was wondering what to do, I'd go over and I'd fucking play baseball in America and I'd make a fortune and I'd come back and I'd buy a big house in Ireland and people would say, where'd you get the money for that? Pure baseball. Anyways, went in to watch the game that evening, met another cousin of mine, met a few of their friends, and they were telling me about the baseball. I was like, can you explain it to me? And they were like trying to explain the rules to me, but sure, that's like fucking trying to speak. It's like trying to learn another language over the course of one night. And they were screaming at the TV sometimes, and I didn't know if they were winning or losing, to be honest. But apparently they won that game, but they ended up losing the series. I don't even know what that means, to be honest, but it was great crack, and it was almost like it was just another part of the whole show, you know. We were in a pub. It was a sports bar with about 9 televisions, which when you're there, you're like, oh, this is great fun. But then you're like, fuck me, there's too many TVs in this pub. There's too many TVs. I wouldn't mind just coming in here and having an old quiet pint for myself and chatting to the lads and asking them how they're getting on. But I don't know if that's the way they do it over there. Now maybe, just maybe, that's the way. Maybe that's just the way that they are over there. Maybe I was with the wrong group of people to be having quiet pints. But there's a lot to be said for going into a quiet pub. And I the older I'm getting, the more I realise that I love just to go into a pub and sit there with another fella, 1-to-1, and say, how are you getting on? And just have a few quiet pints. And even if you do end up getting steamed, so be it. But you're having a few quiet pints. And it's one of the nicest things you can do. I did that the other day with my father. We went to a local town up the road there, Kelchima, and we had a few pints for ourselves. And I swear to God, the conversation was absolutely riveting. And there was no baseball, there was no TVs on, and we had a nice conversation. One of the best conversations we've had in a long time. Mind you, in saying that, I do think that I could get into baseball. If there's any one sport I could get into, it's baseball. I couldn't give a shite about the basketball, couldn't give a shite about the American football. Baseball is probably one of the few sports that I think I could get into. But anyways, probably won't get into it, to be honest, because now that I'm not over there, I slowly feel myself not caring so much about the baseball. That's what I'm going to talk about there now. Oh yes, I went into a casino when I was over there too. That's an absolutely nutty place. My friend was working in a casino over there, so I went in with him and he was showing me around the place, and there was 3 or 4 cops there. So I was like, this is already going to be a dodgy casino. And just all sorts of nut jobs, gambling, fucking on the slot machines, and grannies and grandads, mostly Asian people, just playing the slots all day. And I suppose that's their thing, you know. Maybe for myself, it's probably the pub. But for people like that, it's probably like they like to do a bit of gambling on the slot machines, and power to them. So I was in there, and because where that place is, it's connected to a train station that brings you into Brooklyn. And I was heading into Brooklyn that evening to meet 2 friends. We were going to go to a comedy show in the middle of Brooklyn. So my train wasn't coming for about 2 hours. So I was in the casino, and my friend, he gave me a couple of vouchers to get some beers at the bar. And that's when the baseball was on. And everyone was like really into that. And I got myself another Popeye's chicken. That was the second one I'd got there since I went to America. And got some lovely chips with it too. A delicious bit of a burger, that Popeye's chicken, I have to say. Even though, again, if you're eating that all the time, couldn't be good for you. Definitely couldn't be good for you. You know, as I was eating it, I was actually thinking about Mike Tyson and how he was saying that because he's been eating so much fast food recently, that's the reason why he had to pull out of the Jake Paul fight. So I thought to myself, well, look at me coming over here, eating all this processed shit. I'm not going to feel good about this. But anyways, I ended up eating it anyway because it cost me about $13. Had a couple of beers and then got the train into Brooklyn, went to a very dodgy area, got off at the wrong stop. And thankfully there was more cops around there. So I was slowly but surely beginning to figure out what's going on over there. You know, it'd take you a long time to figure out what's going on over there, to be honest. But I was like trying to figure out my ways because it's all blocks over there. Whereas, you know, in Ireland, it's none of that shite. So found the two boys anyways. We were hanging out, went to the comedy show, had a few beers, and then came back home on the subway again. And then I actually ended up falling asleep on the subway. And I was down to 3% battery and my phone stopped working for some reason. I don't know why. So I actually had to ask the train driver, because I was heading out to my cousin's house again, you see. So I had to ask the train driver, how do can I borrow your phone? And he was like, what? I was like, can I borrow your phone? I need to call my cousin. So he was a bit apprehensive, but in fairness to him, God bless him, he gave me the phone, called up the number. Hello, my cousin. Hello. How you doing? Yeah, I'm after missing my stop. Could you collect me at this stop? Yeah, no worries. I'm going past there anyways. Brilliant. I was about this close to being homeless for the night in New York with no plan, no backup plan. No, nothing to back me up at all. So all I had really on me was, let me see, I had my phone, which is down to 2%. Didn't even have a charger with me. I had a vape pen, but that was about the height of it. So I was thinking, well, I'm just going to have to walk around this village, which is in the middle of Long Island, and just until the sun comes up, and then I'm going to have to get another train. Couldn't believe it. I fell asleep, and I was like, fuck's sake. Couldn't believe it. I was just disgusted with myself. But the thing about it was, the worst thing about it was, I opened up my eyes right as I could see my stop leaving. I was like, no. And there's no way they're going to stop the train for you. They don't do that over there. You know, like if you're getting a bus from Dublin to Mayo or to anywhere in Ireland, you could say to the driver, sorry, could you mind stopping? Well, I suppose it's a bus. Probably wouldn't happen with a train. But anyways, thankfully I ended up getting back to the house that night, shaken but not stirred. And that was it then, really, yeah. So the casino was good fun. Really enjoyed that. Went to the Museum of Modern Art. Saw a few Picassos in there. And it was exposition dedicated to the Latin Americans in the 1700s. So it was like all sorts of chairs and stuff like that they'd built in the 1700s by creators from that genre, that time. And I did a really speedy visit of the museum because I had planned to meet a friend, and I'd said, oh yeah, sure, I'll meet you in an hour. So I thought an hour will do me here. So it turns out I probably needed 2 hours in there, and it cost me $30 as well, which isn't cheap. So I was in that museum anyways, and went to see all the different stuff, as I said, all the different paintings and sculptures, and that was nice. And then came downstairs, met a friend of mine who owns a pub, and we went for a little walk around Manhattan. Big shout out to you, Trevor. And he gave me a Mayo jersey. And then we went to his pub called the Jameson Bar. If you're ever there in Manhattan, call into him. And I had a pint of Smithwick's, which felt like home. Lovely, lovely, fresh, cool pint of Smithwick's. Have to say it was on standard. It was very, very tasty. And I split the S. No, that's just me trying to be silly now. But you know the way everyone talks about splitting the G in the Guinness? Well, I'm trying to bring in splitting the S. Or let me see, maybe I can... Splitting the S, that sounds better. No, splitting the S in the Smithwick's. Anyways, I don't know what I'm talking about. So he owns a few pubs anyways. I did tasty Smithwick's. Oh, I went swimming, told you that already. And all in all, yeah, that was pretty much me trip to New York. Great time. People were so friendly. But I do appreciate the slower living here in Ireland now. I do feel like it's getting quicker, as maybe that's just the way life goes when you get older by. But I think that I like the slower living, slower pace of life here back in Ireland. What do you like yourself? Do you prefer the slower living, or are you somebody that likes the fast living? There's a lot to be said for the fast living too, because in a way, I suppose in a way you go through your life and you don't really look back. It's almost like go, 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 go. And in that sense, you have less time to wallow. But then in the other sense, you can get caught up in this chasing of life all the time. And I think there's a lot of that going on in America where people are chasing stuff. But look, I could be fucking wrong. I could be talking on my arse. I haven't a clue. But maybe you like the slower living, or maybe like the quicker living. Let me know. I would love to know genuinely what you prefer. But thanks anyways, listening to my story. That was my trip to New York. But it's great to be back in Ireland anyways. And it's great to be here again, chatting to you and making these podcasts again and connecting with everybody. I introduced my cousin to Paddy Losty. He'd never heard of Paddy Losty before. And when I put on that video for him, he nearly shit his pants. Wouldn't be fond of the drink, but when I go at it off very hard. Please check out my Patreon. Moving on, I got a question sent in to me about a week ago, and I told them as soon as I get back home, I will answer this question. And it's a fairly simple one. It's, hello Owen, this is a relationship question. My friend spotted my girlfriend on Bumble. Bumble, of course, is one of the bigger dating apps at the moment. It's probably taken over from Tinder, and it's where the lady has to message you before you get to message her. Which, I don't know, that's given... It's a bit lopsided if you ask me. But anyway, I confronted her, but she said it wasn't her profile and brushed it off. Should I believe her? So you spotted your girlfriend, your friend spotted, your girlfriend on Bumble. You confronted her, but you said it wasn't her profile and she brushed it off. Should you believe her? Well, you're asking the wrong fella here, but I'm going to answer it anyways. Could be two things, Johnny. We're going to call you Johnny. Could be two things. Thing number one, it could be a case of somebody has stolen her profile and created some sort of trap where him or her lure people onto her page and say, hey, how are you getting on? Great, and build up a relationship with a potential gullible man who ends up giving loads of money to this person, because that's the way they play those games. So it could be a case of luring somebody into a trap, or you could be caught in a bit of a trap of your own, Johnny. Maybe your partner is lying to you. Maybe she has a profile on Bumble. And maybe she's just checking around the place. Maybe she's been shopping in Aldi when you thought she was shopping in Tesco. You never really truly know. And you confronted her. She said, don't worry. What did she say to you? Let me see. She said she brushed it off. Right. Well, it's so nuanced there that she brushed it off, because maybe she was like, what are you talking about? That's obviously bollocks. But maybe she feels like she's been caught red-handed. What I would say to you is try to find the profile. Try to look into it a bit more and see what the hell is going on. And if there's any signs, then maybe have a chat to her again and say, listen, we need to sit down. We need to talk about this. Now, are we both facing the same direction here? Or do you want to get out? Do you want to leave? Because it's only going to end in badness anyways, if this is what's going on. Could be a simple mistake. I don't know how long you're together. Maybe you're together a long time. Maybe you're planning to have a family and stuff like that. You don't want to throw out the bed with the pram, or whatever they say, the baby with the pram. Or don't throw out the milk water. What is it? Don't throw out the milk water with... No, don't throw out the bath water with the bath. Something like that. You don't want to take down the whole empire either. Like, you might have been working on this for like a long time. The two of you might have plans to move in together or start a family, whatever. So I would say keep an eye on it. ask her again. Have a sit down with her during the week. And it's either one of those two options. Either someone has stolen her profile and is making money off it, or potentially she's on there snooping around. And be cute. But I haven't a clue, actually. I actually don't know. I haven't a fucking clue. Maybe she's cheating on you. Yeah. I think she's actually cheating on you, and you probably should just knock the whole thing on the head and get yourself one of those new AI robots that Musk is selling on the internet. But don't buy one of the Musk ones because he's dodgy, man. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for checking out this week's podcast. I hope you're keeping good. Hope all is well in your life. And do get in touch anytime, owncollie@gmail.com. Can't wait to hear from you. And it's been lovely chatting to you. And as I said, I'm going to be doing a live stream very soon so that there's a bit more interaction and we can keep in touch with each other and have nice chats and get to know each other on a deeper level. Hope you're keeping good anyways, and let me know how you are in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the far side. God bless. This is the Owns Odyssey podcast. Thanks for being here.